All right, fourth grade, welcome to your first bridge math lesson of the year. So if you are following along in your book, we are starting on page 5. I strongly recommend that you follow along and do the work along with me. So that way you get the full experience of the math lesson. So we are starting with modeling place value relationships using base 10 blocks. So these probably look familiar to you. You probably use these a lot third grade and second grade. A cube represents just one. 10 of those cubes represent 110 or one long. 10 tens make 100. 10 100s make 1,000. 10 1,000s make 10,000. And if you are following the pattern, 10 10,000s will make. I'm going to pause here just for a minute to let you think about it and write it down in your book. So 10 10,000s will make, oops, put my comma in the wrong place, 1 million. Now to fill in the blanks in your book, we are on page 5. 10 small cubes, we already said this, make 10. And then the long represents 10. And 10 longs make a flat. So the flat represents 100. And then 10 of those flats will make a large cube. So make sure you are following along. I'm going to give you a minute just to fill those in. All right. So once you have that, we are going to go ahead and go to the next page. All right. So this is page 6. For those of you following along, this is a place value chart. You're going to need to make sure you know how to use these for future lessons. So I'm going to actually write this number, 894,613, off to the side, so that way I have a bigger number that I can work with. So 894,613. Now you'll notice with place values, the smallest units will start on the left. And then as we move to the right, the values get larger. So we have ones, tens, so ones, then tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s. Okay, so they do have this filled in for you already. So with a 3 being in the ones place, that means there's just 3 little units. So imagine like you have the base 10 blocks ahead in front of you and you were to build this number using those. You would just have 3 of those little cubes. And then the 1 is in the tens place. So that means there's 10 ones. I'm actually going to switch. I'm going to erase this a little bit. So then we have 6 in the hundreds place. So that means there's 6 hundreds. And then we have a 4 in the thousands place. So there's 4 thousands right here. And then we have 9 10,000. So that means there's 90,000. That's the value of that number. And then last, this is our largest unit, 800 thousandths. So that means there is a value of 800 thousandths in that place. Okay, so the blue that you see right here, the 9 10 thousandths, they're asking you, the value of the digit is 9, is 9 10 thousandths. They have it here in word form for you. Or, and they want you to fill in the number value, which is 90,000. I'm going to give you just a minute to fill that in for yourself, and then we are going to keep going. Okay, moving on to the next page. Here we go. So now we have another number value chart or base value chart here. So this is still the same page 6. We're just on the next problem right below. So they want us to find the value of 3, I'm going to circle it, 3 in 2,304. So what you're going to do, you're going to start with the number on the far left, which is the 4. So remember, as we move from left to right, the value of the number gets bigger. So you would write your 4 in the ones place. Then we're going to go to the next number, which is 0. I'm going to put a little line above it. 0 will go in the tens place. And then I'm on 3. So 3 is going to go in the hundreds place. Changing color just to help you see this better. And then 2 is next. I'm going to put that in the 1,000ths place. Don't forget your comma. Okay, so that's how you would fill in a number in a place value chart. So the question was, what is the value of 3 in 2,304? Well, we have to think each hundred is 10 times as many as 10. So 3 hundredths is 10 times as many as 3 tenths. Okay, so that means the value of 3 in 2,304 is, I'm going to give you a minute to think about that. Is how many times the value of 3 in 16,135? Well, you pay attention, the 3's in the tens place, but here the 3's in the hundreds place. So that means it's 10 times the value of 3 in 16,135. I'm going to give you a minute to fill that in, and then we're going to go to the next page. Okay, so now, share and show, find the value of the underlined digit. Well, they have the 4 underlined, so we need to find the value of the 4 in 63,540. So I'm going to give you a minute to think about that. Now remember, it would go ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. You can also always use the place value chart on page 6 to help you. So the value of the 4 in this number would be tens. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hit try another. Okay, so now we have 345,890, and the value of the 5. So once again, you have to think ones, tens, hundreds, and what comes next? Well, in this case, the 5 is in the thousands place. I'm going to write that over here. The thousands place. I will write it in word form as well as number form. So that is 1,000 in number form. So if there's a 5 there, then that means the value of this digit is going to be 5,000. All right, so we have now tried 2, so we're going to go ahead and move on to the next page here. Let's take it in a minute. All right, now this one should be on your own. So compare the values of the underlined digits. So I'm going to think out loud with you here. We have 67,908, and they have the 7 underlined, and then the other number is 76,908, and they also have a 7 underlined. However, you'll notice they're not in the same place, right? So this one's over here, this one's right here. So the value of 7 in blank is some amount times the value of 7 in the other number. So thinking out loud here, I'm going to count how many digits are in each number. Sometimes that can help. So let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 digits in 67,908. And in the other number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's also 5 digits. So I think I could safely say these both have the same, they're similar in size, but we have to figure out which one is bigger. So let's look at these numbers. So there's an 8 in the ones place in both. There's a 0 in the tens place in both. There's also a 9 in the hundreds place in both. And then this is where it gets different. So then there's a 6 versus a 7. And then there's a 7 versus a 6. So it looks like these two numbers are actually flipped. So then I have to think, okay, in the farthest place to the left here, which one is bigger? Well, I know if I compare 6 and 7, 7 is bigger. So I'm thinking 76,908 is bigger. So I'm going to write 76,908 right here. So the value of the 7 in 76,908 is how many times the value of 7 in, I'm going to go ahead and write my smaller number here, 67,908. Now that's all that's left is how many times larger is the value of the 7 in 76,908 versus 67,908. Now, if you pay attention to your place value chart, and you'll probably notice a pattern of tens. So to get to the next place over, what do you have to multiply 7 by? So if you notice, you always have to add a 0. So that means you're multiplying by 10. So in this number, 7 is in the thousands place. In 76,908, it's in the 10,000s place. So that means we multiply by 10 to move the 7 from the thousands place to the 10,000s place. Okay, now I'm going to move on to the next problem. Okay, I'm actually going to skip that one because we did something very similar to it just now. Okay. Actually went a little too far. Alrighty. So I'm actually going to let you do this one in your homework assignment on its learning, but I will go ahead and give you a hint if you'd like to jot this down in your book to help you. So what I would do is I would write a place value chart or draw one. So remember, we're going to start with ones on the right. Okay, that's your smallest unit. And then we have tens. That's the next one. And then we're going to have hundreds. Sorry that this writing is so clumpy. I'm on the smartboard. Okay, and then your next largest value will be thousands. This is going to be very squished. Okay, and then you're going to go to 100,000s. I'm running out of room here. Okay, and then the next unit after that will be, that's as far as we go anyway. All right, so we have 10,000s, then 100,000s. All right. So definitely use that place value chart to help you out. There's another one that's on page 7. So basically all your homework is going to be today is finding the value of a number in a certain place. Okay, so my last hint to you is if there is a number in the ones place. So for example, I have the number 816 and they want to know the value of the 6. Well, the 6 is in the ones place. So I would just write 6 as that value because it's just ones. But if they want to know the value of a number in the tens place, let's say I have the number 571. They want to know the value of the 7. Well, that is in the tens place. So then I have to think, okay, it's a value of 10, so I need to add 1 0. So the value is 70. Okay, but then if they want to know the value of something in the hundreds place, let's see, I'm going to do 1,601. They want to know the value of that 6. Well, again, that's in the hundreds place. So when I think of the number 100, I know it looks like this. There's 2 zeros. So if I'm trying to say 6 as a value of 100, then I need to give it 2 zeros to make that true. So then it makes it the number 600. Okay? And if there's a number in the thousands place, well, just think the number 1,000 has 3 zeros. So you need to tack on 3 zeros to whatever that number is. And so on and so forth. Okay, so that is it for today's lesson Please make sure that you do the assignment that is on It's Learning. And there's going to be a few questions on there asking you about place value. And if you have any questions or you're not sure about what you're doing, don't hesitate to get on Google Meet and talk with me or just message me.